Check this out. Check this out. Pulse 95.
Yeah, I thought Omnia was gonna start this one off, but
I kept thinking of, what to say, but honestly, this story makes me sad because if anyone's grandparents are still alive, it's such a blessing, to take care of them, to be with them, to show them love and care, and to just hear their prayers and hear all the love that they have to show. But for some people to just kind of put their grandparents on the sideline, not care about them, or maybe those grandparents don't necessarily have grandchildren, but I feel like with a lot of those cases, what's wrong? I'm getting too emotional about this.
yeah, I think you're a little bit lost for words, Omnia.
No, but it makes me really sad because, okay.
I'm letting you have your moment.
For those of you who, are just tuning into the show, Japan actually created this robot that would make grandparents a little less lonely. So it's basically a grandchild robot. I love the idea, but it's just a sad concept to think that now we have to create fake grandchildren to keep those grandparents, company.
Yeah, and Japan actually has a very old population.
Huge percentage, yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, these grandchildren, maybe they can't take care of them, number one. Maybe number two, they never had any grandchildren to begin with or children to produce grandchildren. But we're looking at how using robots to give older people something to engage with is obviously far from a new idea. But to date, we have mostly done it with robot versions of animals, which did include dogs, cats, and even to the extent of singing birds. But obviously, given the current limits of technology, it's much easier to make a slightly compelling artificial pet than obviously one credible human being. But with Ami-chan and Takara Tomy, they have more taken a comic-like approach to avoiding the eerie valley altogether. The robot does look like a character from a Studio how do you say this one? Ghibli?
Ghibli.
Yeah. I know Aisha and Mazmi love Studio Ghibli.
Really?
I've seen her talk about it quite some time.
We gotta have her.
And
I want to know her thoughts about this story.
Mikhail Atiya as well.
Yes.
Right? They love their anime and Japan stuff. But it's obviously the same type of concept, but with exaggerated eyes and a small, subtle smile. So it does definitely lean more towards sweet than scary.
Yes, indeed. So this robot, just like you mentioned, Tani, her name is Ami-chan. She is capable of blinking her eyes. She can close them and close them slowly so that she can stimulate that kind of idea.
Feeling.
Sleepy feeling, and help encourage those the older generation to fall asleep, because a lot of them actually struggle with insomnia. She also has quite a wide range of motion and animated features, and the best part about it all, she's able to give them that caring feeling, the feeling that they're not alone and a little less lonely. So she would sit there like a doll, but she encourages physical interactions. She will use verbal communication, ask them how they're doing, maybe even open and have some small talk with them. And she has a vocabulary of around 1,600 Japanese words, and she's capable of learning a lot more than that. She knows the names of the grandparents who are currently interacting with her, and she has a camera, so she can use face recognition to visually identify who she's talking to and address them with the proper name so that she can create a much more credible bond. Because imagine dealing with a robot, especially as people grow older, they have a lot less patience. Dealing with a robot that does not know your name, how are you going to establish any form of connection with her?
Yeah, obviously, when it does come to social interaction, all of us, whether we're old or young, if we don't have enough human interaction or social interaction, depression does come in. And it's always good to talk to someone, right?
Yes.
And, as a true grandchild, Ami-chan will seem completely uninterested in your stories and sometimes even avoid making eye contact.
Do you like the stories that your grandparents tell you?
Yeah, my grandpa, he always talks about Palestine.
Yeah.
So I will always listen because it's part of our history. But, in addition to participating in a back and forth chat, obviously using speech recognition, Ami-chan also does sing 40 different nursery rhymes and songs, and even some of them can play with the time of year in mind. So let's say, for example, it's Christmas, right?
Yes.
They'll sing a Christmas song, and they can play games like Heavy Twisters that are actually designed as brain training exercises. Now, the Robo Grandson can also be rocked to sleep, triggering a simulated nap that even includes the fine talking in his sleep that begins to, kind of unsettling. You have a talking robot, baby robot in your hands.
Gives them some action in their lives.
Yeah, they're trying to, make it as real as possible. And
Yes.
hats off to these Japanese inventors. They're making a less lonely world for these grandparents.
These robots, though, are not cheap. They come at a price tag of about $250. But, unlike buying, a puppy or a cat for your grandparents, it is kind of cheaper in the long run because imagine, you don't have to vaccinate these pets. You don't have to constantly buy them food or water, or at least, deal with the grandparents not being strong enough to take care of them. The only thing you'll need for this robot is a new set of batteries every now and then. So that would make the price tag a little easier to swallow, but still.
I mean, they're like 70 years old. They have $250.
True, but another thing...
Lifelong of savings.
Another thing is also some grandchildren will buy it in Japan are buying it for their grandparents because they want to replace the guilt that they feel knowing that they can't be around their grandparents all the time or have the time to take care of them. But I personally feel like
if everyone pitches in like $50,
go visit them.
Obviously I'm saying maybe they're at a different area, a different time, a different place. Who knows? They're in a nursery home. They have underlying conditions. They have to be in care 24/7. There's different, situations and scenarios.
I'm with robots for whatever you want. But when it comes to emotional connections, I will never get the concept.
The humane way would be obviously to visit your grandparents. But again, sometimes, they need attention 24/7. And, I mean, again, in Arabic, they call it Salat al-Rahim.
True.
Right?
We get rewarded for actually visiting our grandparents.
We get rewarded, but at the same time, again, different cultures, different people. We don't know the Japanese culture that much. Maybe it's in their culture. I know in America, a certain age nursing home, right? Whether or not, there's a good connection
What
or
I
not.
know is the Japanese culture is actually very close to our Arabic culture. They have a lot of the same values. So let us know. Do you like this robot, Ami-chan? Would you think of getting it?
Ami-chan.
Ami-chan. Would you get it for your grandparent? I think it would be nice as
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
Yeah, because I'd rather go.
Same. But I feel like if you would go, but you still want that as like a company for every single day, if you can't visit them every single day, then why not? But just not on its own. Let us know your thoughts. 4215 direct Salat or sign into our DMs at Pulse 95 Radio. We will see you again tomorrow. Same time, same place from 2 to 3 p.m. Until then, we've got shows lined up for you all throughout the day, starting with Afternoon Karak from 4 to 5 p.m. and leaving you and giving you company on your drive back home from 5 to 8 p.m. with Yalla Home. So make sure you keep Pulse 95 locked, and we'll see you tomorrow.
If you liked this episode of Future Talk, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.